Welcome to All Things Mama. I'm Nadine Bubeck and this is my son and co-host Nicholas, and today's episode is really special because my doctor is here, Dr. Julianne Heathcott from Arizona Women's Care. She wrote the foreword to my book, Expecting Perfect, My Bumpy Journey to Mommyhood because my pregnancy became high risk. This book is my very real, very candid tell-all pregnancy journal. But before we get to that and talking about the book, I first want to welcome you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mostly for delivering my healthy son. Last time you saw him, he was 4 pounds, 11 ounces, and now he's a boy.
Yes, he's super cute and he's so much bigger, and it's great to see how they change and they grow.
So this book, yes, you know, there's a lot of funny parts to it and it's entertaining, but really it's a whirlwind of my emotions throughout my entire pregnancy experience and Nicholas's stay in the NICU. How do you feel knowing that I'm putting this information out there from a doctor's perspective?
I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that you're sharing your feelings and your fears and your excitement and everything with other women who want to read it, because it's good for people to know they're not the only one that something like this can happen to.
Okay, now let's talk about what that something is. At 20 weeks pregnant, I don't want you to get a paper cut. I was diagnosed with complete placenta previa. First, let's back up. What is placenta previa for people that don't know?
Placenta previa is when the placenta will come down and cover your cervix.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be part of the placenta over part of the cervix, or it can be the entire placenta over the entire cervix.
Now, Dr. Heathcott, the thing is, there's no rhyme or reason for this happening. It's nothing I did or didn't do for this to happen, correct?
Correct. It's totally
Anybody
random.
can get it.
Anybody can get it.
Okay, so I had complete placenta previa, which meant my life was at risk. My baby's life was at risk. You told me I would likely bleed, that I would likely be hospitalized, that I would likely be put on bed rest and birth a premature baby, all of which happened, all of which I write about and document because it was an experience, and I embraced the experience to the best of my ability. Why don't you elaborate and tell us, you know, what previa patients go through?
They definitely have to limit their activity. They have to, no intercourse, pelvic rest, no exercise. You can have, with activity, just a little bit of them shearing, you know, in between the uterus and the placenta, and some blood can work its way out.
You know, I'll never forget, you told me at 20 weeks I had complete placenta previa. At 29 weeks, oh, do you want to take a break? Do you want to take a break? Okay, I'm going to put him down for a second and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay, while Nicholas is playing, I'm going to get back to where I was. At 20 weeks, I was diagnosed with complete placenta previa. At 29 weeks, I had my first bleed and we went to the hospital, as you told us to do, if I were to bleed. And I just remember fear taking over my body. I mean, not only was I scared for myself, which at that point didn't matter, I was scared for my baby. At 29 weeks bleeding, what do you tell your patients?
If someone's really scared right away, it's like, it's okay, because usually the first time somebody bleeds with a previa, it's not a lot.
And then when I went to the hospital, they gave me steroid shots. And steroid shots are good for lung growth.
Correct.
Because it was likely that I was going to have a premature baby.
Correct.
Obviously the big question in my head when I went in there at 29 weeks was, oh my gosh, is the baby coming? And if the baby comes early, will he be okay? And I just remember you telling me you want to make it as long as you can, at least to 34 weeks. At 34 weeks, what makes a baby ready to come out if he has to come out?
It's somewhere between 34 and 35 now, actually. The things that the baby will have problems with, the morbidity, like keeping their temperature up or sucking, are minor.
So, you know, at 29 weeks I went to the hospital, and then after that you said now you are on complete bed rest with the hope that you won't bleed again. Well, I did bleed again at 33 weeks, which is when they readmitted me to the hospital, and I write about it. They even had my baby shower in the hospital. And bless Nicholas's heart, he waited until 34 weeks to the day to come out, because I had one more bleed while I was in the hospital, and I just remember you coming in and you say, okay, in an hour and a half, it's time. How did you make that decision?
Well, you were 34 weeks, it was your third bleed, and it was it kept happening, more and more bleeding. You end up with sometimes such an emergency, you don't even remember the delivery, which you don't want moms to have that.
No.
So you try to catch it before then, and you were right at that middle time.
I was scared every day that I was going to have an emergency, and of course that's what it's the last thing you want, because you know the title of my book, it's Expecting Perfect, because I got far from, because you have this whole vision of what you anticipate pregnancy to be like. In fact, in your foreword, you write about the first bleed. Tell me about that you saw in the hallway during your residency.
Yeah. The amount of blood left in the room, on the bed, and what was coming off of it on the hallway floor and into the OR, and then what was in the OR, that was a picture I never forgot.
You'll never forget it.
And thank God they were both okay, and they both did fine, but it was just a matter of minutes. I mean, that was scary. And so that's what you don't want to have happen.
So with a Previa, yeah, you just wanted to be with us. With a Previa, you have to deliver via C-section. I'll never forget, you said, okay, it's time for your C-section. And I was like, oh no, because I had never had surgery before. What do you like to tell your patients when they're scared the way I was?
That it's gonna be okay, not to worry, that you had done everything you could up until that point, but that was by then your third bleed, and each time was a little bit more and more, and you were at a point at 34 weeks where it was safe for delivery.
And it was good, because I remember every minute of it, and I'll never forget, you are a mom yourself, Dr. Heathcott, and I write about it in my book. When we originally met you the first time for that first initial ultrasound, you were very matter of fact and to the point, and I needed that. I really needed a doctor like you that really was upfront with us throughout the entire pregnancy. But when I was about to get the C-section and when I was about to get that epidural, you kind of cradled me in your arms, and I'll never forget that, because it was the first time I'm like, okay, she's a mom too, and she's going to take care of me. And you did. You delivered.
It is. It's scary. It's scary for you because you've never been there.
Right.
And I mean, the good thing is we have, and we do. It is a routine for us. But we also recognize it's your first time, and it's scary, and you have to be there to keep you calm.
Dr. Heathcott, I can't thank you enough for being so good to me throughout my pregnancy, which was just such a journey, and for delivering him.
Oh.
I mean, you never...
Don't make me cry.
Your makeup looks so pretty. You really... You made it as easy as possible for me, and it was a very emotional journey, and I thank you for writing the foreword. It means a lot to me, and I thank you for making sure everything with him was all good. And you could get my book. It's available at expectingperfect.com. We will see you next time on All Things Mama.